The protests and the craziness keeps on going, and there are many among the Tesla community who believe that this is actually going to help Tesla more than hurt it. So it's keeping the brand in front of the American population, and in fact, the worldwide population, to such an extent that I think people are just figuring, well, what's all the fuss about? Maybe I need to check this out. So we have this from Warren Redlick posting today in X. By the way, he goes under the WR4, the number 4, NY I was just at Tesla in Salzburg on the German border, and they can't keep them in the store. Tesla Donkey, he says, just completed a 3,100 kilometer road trip from Brittany, France to Lahti in Finland in my Model Y standard range rear-wheel drive. Called into a couple of service centers along the way. The same story, selling like hot donuts. This is from Tesla Japan fan. My visit to the Bangkok Central World Tesla showrooms, the sales rep says orders have been increasing since Model Y launched last December. You need to wait for 6 months. Wow, Model 3 is quicker. You can get that in around 1 month. Let's go, he says. Lots and lots of these kind of posts. But we also get this. Matthew Gallo, he goes under the name Matthew Gallo 77, says, due to the recent attacks and violence against Elon Musk and the Tesla community, I have finally ordered my first Tesla. And we're seeing lots and lots of those as well. And then we're seeing this kind of situation where the Elon derangement syndrome folks who are defacing vehicles are getting taken away in handcuffs. More and more are seeing their faces on X because, of course, why would you ever do anything to a Tesla vehicle when you're going to be on Sentry? But they probably don't know about Sentry. So more arrests. We saw at least 2 arrests, 3 arrests in the last 24 hours, and I'm sure more are probably coming as these faces get identified. So that is kind of interesting news. Don't like to see the protests, except to the extent that they're peaceful protests, it might actually be a big benefit for Tesla. Business Insider has this, beating the S&P 500's 23% gain in 2024 was not an easy feat. But an AI-backed ETF actually did just that, just exactly that. QRaft Technologies AI-enhanced U.S. Large Cap Momentum ETF, AMOM, finished the year up 38% thanks to big bets on growth stock winners such as NVIDIA, Tesla, and Palantir. But this year's volatile market has led to not quite the same result. The fund uses machine learning models to analyze price trends in the market. And then they've had to do, because they've had some other kinds of results during the first quarter, they've had to do some severe rebalancing in March, and they've reduced their tech exposure in a big way. AMOM, AMOM again, runs on machine learning methodology called clustering, which sorts data into similar groups. The algorithm examines the price momentum of large cap U.S. stocks and rebalances every month. In simple terms, it means that they're looking at previous momentum to see which one is the best predictor of the next month, according to their ETF lead, Justin Tam. A tech-heavy concentration hasn't done the portfolio any favors so far in 2025, as it's down 16% year to date. Of course, the tech, that's almost exactly what the NASDAQ is down. S&P is down probably about 9% at this time. So depending on which day they were looking at this, they're not doing that badly when you consider that they're investing in these tech stocks that swing more wildly. So going into March, they said, this is a quote, it's gone really bearish on tech, Tam said. The AI model has reduced its exposure from the tech sector from over 40% last year to just 26% now. Instead of retaining its tech-heavy allocation, the algo has diversified more into financials and communication services, picking up companies like Wells Fargo and Morgan Stanley. Hanging on to the Magnificent Seven, the AI fund hasn't completely exited or reduced all of its big tech holdings in March, though. In fact, 3 of its 4 largest holdings are magnificent stocks: NVIDIA, Meta, and Tesla. Even though NVIDIA beat Wall Street expectations with its earnings report in February, its stock has taken a beating from macroeconomic volatility and technological developments in the AI space. But TAM remains confident in the stock. We do see lots of signs for optimism in terms of the long-term growth for NVIDIA and the AI trade in general, seeing as the data center revenue has stayed steady. So as for Tesla, the stock is also seen, gotten hit really hard, but they're hanging in there with Tesla, believing in its AI future as well. Okay, Herbert Ong says, Figure AI just revealed their bot Q. Everything's about Q these days. Figure's manufacturing facility is they're starting their brand new manufacturing facility. They just announced it today. It will be the highest volume humanoid production line in the world. Well, until it isn't. Elon says he's going to make 5 to 10,000 this year, and they're saying they're going to make 12,000. So what do you think? Maybe they picked the number 12,000 on purpose. Anyway, from here, Figure plans to grow their fleet to 100,000 robots within 4 years. Now, not sure whether that means they plan to grow their fleet, meaning that at the end of 4 years, they will have 100,000 bots total, which would mean that they could double this 12,000 per year and get there, or whether they mean that they are going to be doing 100,000 per year. I think it's the way they said it is grow our fleet to 100,000 robots. Anyway, the Figure hardware and manufacturing team has been designing this for the last 8 months. Vertical integration manufacturing. Figure has made the decision to bring the manufacturing of our humanoid robots in-house to control the build process, the quality, and guarantee that we will deliver a high-functioning robot to market. Now that, as I've mentioned many times on this channel, since I wrote the article on virtual to vertical in Inc. magazine years ago, you can go 100% vertical, and yes, it can. One of the main reasons I did it for my own factory was because of quality. That was the chief driving factor. Also, hoping to save money, obviously, but it doesn't always work out that way. And you'll notice that Tesla is not building all of their actuators themselves. They're going outside for some of their actuators. So this just because sometimes these people just follow Elon around, and whatever Elon does, they do. And so if it's vertical, it's vertical, but that's not always going to be the best decision. Building actuators is not easy, and they may find themselves up against some real constraints if they try to go vertical across the board. The other thing I noticed in watching the video that they did was they're not using any robots. I'm sorry, they're not using any humanoid robots, at least not any that they showed us in the lines that they showed us. And mostly they showed us the head, the manufacturing process that they're doing for the head. Anyway, they also say that they're building software infrastructure. For the last 6 months, Figure has been building an underlying software infrastructure that can support volume manufacturing. Robots building robots. Oh, he does mention this actually. Figure's humanoid robots will be used on our manufacturing process to build other humanoid robots. This will take place this year. We project that the number of our humanoid robots involved will grow substantially over time to increase line automation. Again, in the video, they showed nothing about that. Always remembering that oh yeah, this is a different story. Sorry, it sounds like I was just continuing on. I don't want to do that. All right. Now, you need to please always remember statistics. Everybody hated statistics in school, right? Did you have to take statistics? Did you hate statistics? Well, okay. There's some things, though, that we need to always keep in mind when we're looking at anybody's stats. It is so easy to make anything you want out of your stats. I mean, yeah. And one of the ways that you do that, especially on statistics that are measured over time, is to pick your times. When do you start your analysis and when does the analysis end? If you back that up a month if you back up the starting point a month and you don't back up the ending point a month, you could change the numbers entirely. So, for instance, and I don't think Galley was doing this, but Galley comes out right now with an analysis. He says, look, Tesla stock is up 53% in the last 1 year. And I ran some TM. I put some TMs on some of your videos over the last month where I said, hey, Tesla is up, whatever it was, 20% over the last 6 months. Um, though I was doing it because I was trying to make a very distinct point, and that is pick your dates, and I'll tell you what the result is. So yes, from the beginning of 2024, I'm sorry, beginning of 2025, Tesla is down. From the beginning of last Thursday, Tesla is up. I'm sorry, from the beginning of Friday morning, Tesla is up. I mean, pick your date, and if you want to make a point, I can give you any stat you want. The most important stat is what is Tesla going to do? What has it done in the past overall, and what's it going to do in the future? And right now, the stock is obviously a massive, massive success over time. And you and I probably both agree it's going to be a massive benefit, a massive plus in the future. So Galley goes on to say the S&P was only up 10% over that same 1 year period. That's a 5 times outperformance. So you have to really, and he goes on, hey, the Tesla, the headlines are Tesla stock collapsed. But you see, that's what those clickbaiters are trying to do to you. They're trying to get you to clickbait in, and they're also trying to make a point a lot of times that there's something wrong with Tesla, that something wrong with Elon, that it's a bad stock to own. Well, there you go. Just always pay attention to why do we care what happened to a stock since January 1? It's kind of irrelevant. What do we care what was a year ago? What do we care what it was 6 months ago? These are very irrelevant kinds of stats. Now it might be wiser to take a look at it over periods. What has it done over the last 5 years? What's it done over now, quite frankly, if you look at it over the last 5 years or 4 years, you might find out that it's kind of flat over the last 4 years. But then if you look at it over 5 years, you're going to see it's way up compared to anyway. You get my point. The 𝐒𝐦𝐚𝐲 letter has this morning. Oh, this is Randy Kirk, by the way. You could like, you could subscribe, you could hit notify, all those things that you should do. We got a Brian Wang coming up probably tomorrow morning, because I got a Brian White coming up tonight, and then regular programming tomorrow afternoon and evening. Hit Patreon would be good. The U.S. money supply, according to the 𝐒𝐦𝐚𝐲 letter, the U.S. money supply growth is accelerating. The M2 money supply rose 3.9% year over year. Now, that's a better stat, looking at something year over year. In January, the fastest pace in 30 months. That's the 11th straight month of money supply expansion. If I'd thought about it, I would have gone back and checked on this on year over year for February, because I'm sure those numbers are out. Anyway, the amount of U.S. dollars in circulation has reached 21.6 trillion, just 16 billion below the all-time high set in April of 2022. Meanwhile, global money supply has risen by 2 trillion over the last 2 months to its highest since September of 2024. Money supply is expanding again. And of course, money supply expanding is good, although, as Larry tells you every single month, which he should, and it's important to know, is the way that money moves is even more important than supply. Now, money supply sometimes is a bad thing if lots of governments, including the U.S. government, is printing lots of money. That can cause what? Oh yeah, too many dollars chasing too few goods, and there's only two ways that inflation happens. Remember, I'm going to keep pounding and hounding on this. Only two ways that inflation happens. The U.S. government prints money, or productivity. Individuals stop making as many widgets per hour overall in the economy. Trump is bombing the Houthis back into the previous century in an effort to stop them from piracy and terrorism against shipping lanes in the Red Sea. Here's what the Washington Post had to say. U.S. warships and jets launched attacks across Yemen, targeting radars, air defense sites, and drone launch points, a defense official said. The operation is the beginning of a campaign targeting the Houthis' military capabilities, the official said, following attacks against merchant ships and U.S. forces in the region. The Houthi attacks on American vessels will not be tolerated, Trump said in a post on social media. We will use overwhelming lethal force until we have achieved our objective. The U.S. designated the Houthis Houthis, I think it's, I don't know what the right pronunciation is, as a terrorist organization earlier this month, paving the way for more focused operations against them. By the way, you'll see some headlines, you'll see some posts on X, if you're on X, of people saying, oh, Trump doesn't have the authority, doesn't have the right to do this. Well, give Biden credit where credit is due. He was bombing the heck out of the Houthis also. Anyway, Trump's efforts, we hope, will be more successful and long lasting. So, of course, that is to be expected. You don't expect any consistency from anybody in politics. All right. Is that nice and balanced? Is that a balanced report? All right. That's all I got for you right now, but I will look forward to seeing you, with Brian White in just a little while, and then Brian Wang, and the regular Sunday night report, where I give you a lot of reporting, a lot of stuff coming next week, including the Fed's decision and Federal Chair Powell. Sounds wrong. Is that right? No, that's a real mind bend. Powell, right? Still him, right? Anyway, well, he'll give his report and take questions from the press. All right. So that's it. That's all I got for you right now. It's been great talking to you.